Welcome to the Rebel Crone, everybody. This is Elisa, and today I have a very exciting conversation with my dear friend Hapi. You know, one of my philosophies on life, well, actually two of them, is to keep an open mind and to be curious. And that's all I ask of you today as we go into this topic, is for you to keep an open mind. She's laughing because once you hear the topic, you're going to know why Happy's laughing about this. Because of all the topics of topics is the one we're going to discuss today. So what I ask of you is just to keep an open mind and be curious. I found in my life that when I hear of a theory of things or a belief, a perspective or a concept, an idea, whatever it is that I don't want to believe, I don't think is true, but other people do, what do? I keep an open mind and I get curious and I want to ask questions. I want to find out why intelligent people would be believing X, Y, Z. So this is a big lead into what our topic is today. And when I say it, you're going to know why I have to have this lead in. And you'll know why Happy's laughing here. Okay, so today's topic is on flat earth theory. But isn't it going to be quite flat earth? We're not going there. We're going to start with is why we don't live on a sphere. In the media, this is a poo-pooed subject. In fact, it's one that if anybody brings it up, they're in crazy town. There's some weird conspiratists, whatever that word is, they're that there's some kind of conspiratorial nut. Well, you know what? There's a lot of very intelligent people out there that understand this as a principle to be true. So what I want to find out today, because Happy is one that she's got this incredible mind that has studied this and has gone into it in great detail. In fact, before we started filming, she was explaining to me and some of our friends here why it's so, and it's fascinating. So I asked her, could we just do a quick little video on it? And she was so happy and eager to. Not, but here we are anyways. We pressured her into this. So anyway, Happy, let's just get started with the basics. Not like why things necessarily flat earth and all of that around it, but why does this model right here not work? So you start with basic, easy, step by step. Would you break it down for us, please?
I'm not the best one for this, but I will try. If the Earth was a ball, 24,901 miles in circumference, like they tell us, it would have a physical, measurable curve of 8 inches per mile squared. Now, when they really start looking at it, they will say at 1,000 miles it gets a little bit off, but we don't need a 1,000-mile stretch to prove that it has no measurable curve. Science has to be observable, repeatable, measurable. So we have to be able to find, observe, repeat more than once.
That's the criteria. That's scientific criteria.
Yeah, the scientific method is to have those things. So when I went looking for the 8 inches per mile squared.
And why did you go looking?
Because there was a $100,000 reward. And I was like, I'm an architect. I know how to read a level. I can do this. I understand basic math. So I went looking for the curve, thinking I would collect this $100,000 that was out there, and I became a level, motionless earther. I'm not a flat earther, but it is level and motionless. We can measure that. We can observe that. In 10 miles, in a 10-mile stretch, and anybody that's ever shot a gun, looked through a rifle, you're seeing past 3 miles. At 3 miles, there should be 6.66 feet of curvature. In 10 miles, it's 66.6 feet, actual feet of curvature.
That's a lot.
It's a lot. And like there's, 23-mile-long bridges in Louisiana and a 102-mile-long bridge in China. The longest bridge in the world is 102 miles long. It would have over 6,000 feet of curvature. And you can see it's engineers, architects, people that lay railroad lines, fiber optic cables. We know we're not laying over, we would have to figure math, we would have to figure materials for our curve. bridge. I mean,
and that's not part of their equation,
no, it's
is
not
it?
part
It's
of
not part of their equation, which is interesting. If it were so, they would have to use that in determining
you would have to figure extra material for the curve.
Yeah.
You would have 6,000 more feet of material on that bridge, but it's not. I mean, there's a lot of articles and things you can go read and look at where this was coming up in the 30s, 40s, and 50s, and they're architectural magazines and stuff, and you can see where they're like, give us more credit in that. We know what we're doing. And so it's one of those things when you know that you've been deceived, you want to go find out what the truth is. And that was...
Well, some people do. Some people are just willing to accept that, yes.
And that's, I appreciate that
about you.
Whatever it takes, whatever it looks like, whatever it feels like, I want to know what.
So let's keep going into this. So you're talking about the measurable curve. I'm not going to feed back to you exactly the measurements you said, but I understand the concept. If it's a curve and the Earth, they say, is so big, it's going to have absolutely scientifically, there's going to be a certain amount of curve per measurable
It has to
distance.
be, according to what they tell us. If it's the size they tell us, it would have to have, at 3 miles, a 6-foot drop.
So could you give us some other examples where this doesn't pan out?
Well,
you talked about like the bridges, and the bridge you can sit on and you can see farther than that distance.
Oh,
you can
absolutely.
see it go
Lighthouses.
straight.
I mean, lighthouses wouldn't work. Some lighthouses are barely 100 feet tall, but you can see them at 50.
Oh, it would go off into the ethers, right?
You wouldn't see it because it's supposed to be hidden behind this physical curve. So that's the thing. It's got to be a physical curve, and then you've got your latitude and longitude. That's a 2-dimensional plane. That's X, Y coordinates. That's 2-dimensional. That's all maps use X and Y, longitude, latitude, because it's if it was, where's the Z, X, Y, Z? If it was a ball, all coordinates would have X, Y, Z.
Right, because it's 3 dimensions, 3 points of orientation.
Absolutely.
To get the shape. Okay.
But it's missing. That's why if there was curvature, there would be no flat Earth.
Yeah.
It's missing.
And let's talk some more examples on it, because you may not be convinced just on that, but let's say what other places that people could go out and they could test for themselves, or maybe they could pull from memory, different things. Well, let me ask you, because we spoke earlier about, you said a ship going off to sea, and it looks like it's going over the horizon because the Earth is curved.
You can watch it go from the bottom up. You can watch it disappear. And now I have a pretty cool camera. That is a Nikon P900 camera. It's a super zoom camera. It zooms way further than regular consumer optics. They built the 900, they built the 1000, and then they quit. They never built them again for consumers. So this is a rare consumer optics camera that I can pull every one of those boats back into full view.
Full view. So what's happening? You were telling me before a little bit, why does it look like, why is there an illusion that it's dropping over the horizon, but it's really not?
Because that wave, like if I have, you can watch this happen right here on your screen. When I pull something back like this, it looks like my hand is disappearing, but they're really level. Look at my hands. Yours beside me. Are my hands level?
They're level.
Well, one of them's missing on your screen right now. Because of just observation. It has nothing to do with me curving. This hand ain't going under the curve. It's observation. It's what you can perceive with the angular resolution of your eye. The atmosphere has moisture and dust and smoke and it's water. I mean, there's water between me and you. It's thin, but
we are made of water. It's water.
And that's why the truth resonates with that water, because it's the truth.
Which is another fascinating topic we're going to have to do sometime. It's just like the power of water, and then printable power of water.
That's exactly it.
Yeah, it carries signature.
So that we can't see through it. Like you can't see it through a swimming pool. At one end of a clear pool, you couldn't see the other end because it's of what's in it. And so that's why things the sun fades out. When we're zoomed in on it with these cameras and we're watching the sun, it doesn't go down. It just fades into the atmospheric soup that is the atmosphere.
Interesting.
When we were driving the other day coming up, we were pointing at the mountains because you could see like Tres Piedras, you could see all the distant mountains and then the ones that got closer to us, and it was so hazy. You couldn't even see the furthest ones. I was like, there's more Blancas there. These other,
there's more, yeah.
But tomorrow it'll be clear. You can see all.
That's like on a clear day. Or sometimes when rain is in the atmosphere, all of a sudden things just like it gets prismatic and you can see.
You can see further or less. In the Guinness Book of World Records, the longest photo ever taken, the most distant photo ever taken is over 200 miles. And that's in the Guinness Book of World Records.
And that shouldn't be.
That would be impossible. If it was a ball, I don't know what it is. I don't care what the shape of it is.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter. But if it was a ball, it's way bigger than what they're telling us because we've measured. There's been too many. Every experiment ever done to measure the curvature of the Earth has failed, and it's been to court twice in America.
That's interesting. What years was that? If somebody ever wants to look it up, do your own research if you're interested.
I think in the 90s, and then I know it was in the 2000s. Zen Garcia was the flat earther that they took to court. He was offering $25,000 or something like that back then. And both times it won in America because there is no proof. I mean, you can believe what you want to, but there's no proof.
I was listening to a video by Chief Ironbush, who's a fascinating man, very out there in his philosophy, but right in there for me and for those that are vibrating and thinking along these lines. And he was sharing about, and sorry if I don't get this just right, but it was some like NASA documents, like aerodynamic manuals.
Absolutely.
And also with the military, the manuals on aiming and shooting missiles on a target. And when they did all the calculations to accommodate the curvature of the Earth, that the missiles never landed on their target.
And
when they went to the flat Earth thing, they could hit the target. And same thing with just all this aerodynamic stuff. And the bottom of their things, they all say this is according to a flat, still Earth.
This is non-rotating. All
Earth.
Documents from NASA, from CIA, from pilots, the pilot books, and there's plenty of pilot whistleblowers.
So why is that so? See, that's what I'm curious.
There are plenty of whistleblowers out there.
Why is that so? I mean, why would actually the authorities that we're believing that are saying this is the science that is the science that is?
It's assumed over a flat, non-rotating Earth.
Then why in their own manuals can they not make it work when they're shooting missiles and trying to land and do all this stuff? Why can they not make their own theories work and they have to revert back to what they say is ridiculous?
What is real?
What is real? I mean, so that's where you get like any of the kind of conspiratorial stuff out there, because we like to get into all this stuff.
I'm a conspiracy analyst.
Analyst, exactly. We don't just accept it for it is, but it's like, show me the data, show me the facts, and you're going to dig.
I want to know.
Yeah.
Whatever it is, I want to know. And if it's wrong, we'll back up. We'll punch.
And before you poo-poo it, just like Happy was saying, she went to poo-poo it and to collect her $100,000. Cha-ching, easy money.
I had found this book. I was in Savannah, Tennessee, and I was in a library, and I found a book. It was from the 1800s. And I have that book with me, actually. It's in my backpack because I was showing it to somebody, so I haven't put it up. But it was Richard Carpenter, and it was 100 Proofs the Earth is Not a Spinning Globe. And I just sort of snickered, like, what a joke.
Yeah.
But it was free paper. I could burn it. It was wintertime in Tennessee, and so it had discard. They just throw it away in the free box. I'm like, I'll take it. But I just picked up and looked at the very back, because I always start at the back. And it was real.
I read that one.
It was real math.
Back-ass words.
That was what got me. I was like, hey, this is real math. I mean, like I said, I am an architect. I do understand some basic math, and this was real math. And I was like, can't be real. It was a long time before I told anybody, because I thought I was the only person in the world that knew this. After all, I didn't read but 27 of those 100 proofs. And you never read the rest of the book. I still have never read it. Don't have to. I mean, it doesn't take but one or two things to know that there's a lie. And whatever the truth is, hey, I'm happy to go sort it out and find it.
And most of my subscribers here on the Rebel Crone, a lot of them are from Archaic. So we're kind of preaching to the choir on that stuff. You may not have taken the next leap to say like the world is flat, but there's, as we all know, that in the 1800s, then that's why Jason from Archaics collects a lot of books, like the older the better, because it's different kinds of information than we get in the 20th century. And as we know that there was a culling of the old information and a unveiling of a new world model. And in that new world model, there was a specific, it's the whole...
A plot and a plan and a reason. It's a script. And we're going to follow it.
Yeah, that's it's going to be. And so as far as not being round, then we have to look at then the whole thing about round bodies all around us, as in the sun, the moon, the planets. We don't have to get into a lot of detail with it, but it makes you question then the whole model. And you probably do, the dates of when that was rolled out? Because that's a recent thing, is the planet or the universal cosmology they're pointing to us of planets and the system and how everything's spinning and moving through space. We haven't gone into all that. The heliocentric model. Thank you very much. And when was that unveiled?
In the 20s, 30s, and 40s in America, the education system ran by Rockefeller, who prints all of our books. And
all
prints them
textbooks.
cheaper than anyone else, so no one can even be a competitor against him.
Because he probably owns all the print presses.
He owns it all, so But yeah, he's the one. Flat Earth was actually still taught in American schools in the 40s and 50s. There's some films where people went and interviewed people that were in their hundreds. And they were taught flat earth in school. So in our education system, all the kids went home with their little globes.
Yeah.
And no one questioned it anymore. We're smarter now. And that's what happens today. We're smarter than that today.
Well, and then that kind of plays into the whole thing that we are the pinnacle of our, of our intellect. We're the pinnacle with technology, and we're just so advanced. Yet there is so much going on. Like you go back and you're looking at the different buildings and structures, the World Fairs, and back, and how we couldn't replicate those things. We couldn't build the Great Pyramid, and we're so sophisticated now. So maybe our so sophisticated model of the universe isn't as sophisticated as we think it is, and maybe there's other reasons and agendas right behind this coming in.
All astrology, zodiac, everything, people like to talk about the zodiac and this sign and that sign. You don't realize every bit of that is based on it being geocentric. And there are hundreds.
Break that down for me a little bit.
Hundreds of professors in our colleges today will tell you the Earth is geocentric. But
everything goes around
everything revolves around us. Polaris sits there and never moves, and everything revolves around Polaris, and we sit here and watch that happen. That's geocentric. We are the center of the universe.
And you know what is like so funny? I have to go off into my rebel crone spiritual things, because a lot of times we say like, you're not the center of your universe, poo on you. World has separate egos. We're not the center of our universe. But the more enlightened I get, I realize that I am the center of my universe. Me and my higher self. This is my responsibility. This is it.
Absolutely.
I'm the center of it. So why not have Earth be the center of this great experiment in humanity?
Be still and know. How are you going to be still if you're spinning at 1,038 miles an hour?
Oh, Jesus, that's a whole other thing. We're going to do a little before we wrap up here. Let's talk a little bit about that whole spinny business, and waters and going through space at this and how, and talk about it a little bit, because you'll do a much better job than me.
Well, the thing that they use is the theory of gravity. Gravity holds the water to the spinning ball. I mean, if you put water on this ball and spin it, what's going to happen? The water's going to fly off. But
it's like a dog shaking right after it gets wet. It's going to go everywhere.
Gravity holds it all together. And so then I say, well, which gravity do you want to discuss? Newton's theory of gravity or Einstein's theory of gravity? Number one, they're both theories.
But please tell me the difference. Please educate me.
Well, Einstein, Newton was the first one, and his was mass attracts mass. They said they had put a big metal ball and a big metal ball in a barn one time, and it attracted the smaller one to it. Like, that's how they say the moon is locked from our gravity.
Right, it's a magnet,
which is weird.
Magnetic pole.
Yeah. So the gravity of Newton was a theory that was never proven to exist 180 years ago. That actually
it was an idea he had.
He said he did an experiment, but it wasn't repeatable. So you got to be able to repeat something for it to be the scientific method. It was never repeated again, never seen again, never observed, never measured again. But 180 years ago, there were some really smart dudes got together and proved that didn't work anymore. So then they come up with Einstein's the dark matter. Everything is dark matter. We don't know what it is. We can tell you that that's the theory of gravity. Is actually basically MC squared. Nothing equals whatever they come up with. It's literally whatever.
But how does gravity come off of that?
That's it's a theory of gravity. Gravity's not real. That's the whole point. Is it's a theory that there is something holding water to.
Because you have to have it if you're going to adopt this model of spinning through space.
They say there's a magnetic core in the center, right? This magnetic core. Well, number one, magnets, when you melt them, they lose their magneticity. It's called the curing point.
Oh, so the molten magnetic core
that's sucking everything down, is holding everything together.
Well, you know gravity sucks.
They've never been past 7.5 miles deep in the surface of the Earth. So how do they know what's 20,000 miles? I mean, how do they know any of that?
I know anything what's in the Earth, right?
Past 7.5 miles deep. The deepest hole ever done.
Of what we're told. And then that's a whole other topic we won't go into today, but there's lots of...
Gravity holds the whole thing together, and gravity is a theory that has never been proven to exist. Yes, an object, buoyancy and density. I mean, if you buoyancy and density work out everything when you get rid of gravity, because that was my husband's first question. He's like, well, what about gravity? It's the first thing he said. And he was the guy laying the fiber optic cables. He knew that it wasn't her.
He didn't have to.
He didn't understand what to do with the gravity thing. He's like, what about gravity?
Yeah, I pick something up and I drop it. It's going to fall. Why is it falling?
It's heavier than the air that surrounds it. I can layer oil, water, milk, various liquids, and I can drop all these different things, and each one will stop at a different level. Every one of them.
Oh, interesting. You're dropping it through the different.
Oh, yeah. Me and the grandkids are doing, yeah, absolutely. You can layer about 8 different liquids, different types of things. Lead floats on mercury. I've got liquid mercury. I can float lead. I've done it. How does lead float on anything? It's lead.
Right.
What happened to gravity? That's because the Earth has a -20 measurable magnet. It's a negative measurable magnitude that the Earth is. And when they reverse it, they make things levitate. And
that's part of
it's been done how many times?
Yeah.
Oh man, you can
flying saucer thing they talked about.
It's all magnetic.
Magnetic
It ain't just
and
the ether energy field. It's a magnitude. That's why we're energetic and we feel better when we ground, because we discharge that energy into the Earth. It receives it.
Well, there's something interesting as you speak about these different things. What flashes into my mind?
Imagine being in here.
I don't know. But it's there's so much contingent on one thing. If you took away that model, then you would, then what you could square to truth. You'd square all these things, but that's not what we're being taught and what we're told. So we have to buy into this whole model that they have to come up with some kind of a theory that would hold it.
The Big Bang Theory is absolutely nothing existed, and it all came together
in
and
one
exploded
flash
and created everything. And then the amoebas got together and crawled up out of the ocean and had sex and had a fish and had a monkey, and
smart
then we all
amoebas.
evolved from monkeys. That's the heliocentric Big Bang. It's all one narrative. Or another alternative. Don't believe me, but it's just another door you could open. Is we were placed here by an intelligently designed creator. And who and what that creator is, that's my journey.
That's all of our journey.
That's my journey, is to find who and what this creator is and what is the purpose. Strength on the journey well. That's what you go figure it out.
And to each his own. We have our own journey back to the truth.
And whether you accept it or reject it, it's still no measurable curvature there. If it is, let's go find it and get that $100. There's 2 guys offering $100,000 now. 2 different men offering $100,000 for one proof of curvature.
So that is our invitation to everybody listening today. If you want to just go poo-poo to the whole thing, that's fine. That's your right to. Doesn't matter to us if you do that or not, but how well does that serve you in your life to totally discard things at face value just because it makes you uncomfortable or just because it bucks like the whole structure of how you built your understanding. If this isn't true, then therefore, what else have they been teaching us? What else have I learned in school, about evolution and all on down the line? You could pick about any topic. That if one thing's not true, then what else isn't true with it? Because this is such a foundation of what we're taught from the very get-go.
They spend a lot of energy, time, and money indoctrinating us into an idea, into a belief, actually. And I told you earlier, I believe that belief is the enemy of knowing. Yeah. You can know certain things. You can know unequivocally, beyond a shadow of a doubt, that this place does not move. If you ever go through an earthquake, you'll feel movement. It don't move. We're not moving, and it's measurably. It's not a spinning ball.
What is it I love about you?
That would be a monkey on a spinning ball. We're not monkeys on a spinning ball.
Yeah, I think there's some diagrams of that somewhere. But that's one thing I really appreciate about you, Hapi, and just really admire is just your willingness to really investigate something. Like, okay, I don't believe it, but if it were true, some people say so. Well, let me go try to prove it. Try to figure it out. And if you're not, we're not saying trust what Hapi has to say. Trust it. Not at all. She's telling her journey, her specific journey in inquiry, in intelligent inquiry, open heart, open mind inquiry. Do your own. Figure out if you want to. And if not, if you want to stick with this one and it works for you, there's nothing wrong with that. Nothing wrong with that. We're each on our own thing with it. And
it is worth mentioning, when I first found all this out, I didn't even know YouTube was a place to go learn videos. I watched car parts or how to do something, but I didn't know it was like people interacting on YouTube. So then I found the Flat Earth Society, which, Obama in his speech was like, we don't have time for a debate with the Flat Earth Society.
This poop, everything is poop.
I would have voted for Obama had I ever voted, but I've never voted. But I would have voted for that guy because I sort of thought that was a good thing. But nevertheless, I don't vote. I don't care. But I found out the Flat Earth Society is actually a disinformation campaign. I had bought the t-shirt, I was in, and then I started looking, I was like, well, that doesn't make sense, because that society says that the Earth is traveling up, and gravity is because we're going up at 9 point something miles a second, and that's what gravity is to the Flat Earth Society. No flat earther that I know that's I know this place is not a ball believer, believes that.
Well, that's what you have to dig deep on things. We all know what a psyop is, and that is disinformation purposely put out there, like it happened with UFOs. Whether you believe a UFO is coming from up there or coming from another ground, is people have had interactions, and whether they're legit with extraterrestrials or they're some kind of holographic experience for a specific reason, doesn't really matter. But I forgot where I was going with that.
The disinformation.
The disinformation. That's where you're
laugh at it.
They laugh at it. So all when the real substantive accounts are coming out about it, they brought all this other stuff in to make it a joke. And that's just a very simple kindergarten plot ploy. It's like gossip. You take something a little true and you spin all kinds of other little things in it, and then it becomes ridiculous. And actually, the more ridiculous it becomes, the more people tend to believe it, which is sort of funny and kind of sad at the same time. But so something like that, when you're looking in it, don't just go Flat Earth Society, oh, stupid. Go deeper into it. Go look up some of these. Look up the case you're telling me about. But the
it's Ben Garcia.
Ben Garcia.
It was in Georgia, and it ended up at the Supreme Court. Yeah, absolutely.
Try to get to the root information of things, as opposed to, some kind of organization out there.
I'd stay away from the Flat Earth Society. Nobody believes that.
Okay, well, we're gonna wrap it up today. We could go off on many other things, and we'll save it for another video. You promise to come back and we'll talk about. I'm curious to have a conversation about what else could it be.
There are maps.
There's a lot.
There's a lot and
ideas.
There's just we can.
Well, that's a whole other conversation. I think this is enough of a drop for today.
Pretty heavy hitting.
Thank you very much, and thank you for joining us all. And as always, if you like what the Rebel Crone's doing, if you like this information, be sure to subscribe, like, share with friends, and just do your own investigation. And as always, peace from within.